How much do things really change? This footage you're watching right now was filmed exactly 1 year from today. A snowstorm and cleanup, knife making, family time, all in a day's work. Maybe things don't change that much.
Hey, Grumpus. Hey, hey, Grumpus. All in a day's work. It could be at anything. That's why it's so important to be multi-skilled, diverse in your craft, not just focus on the one thing. I know it's nice to be a master in something, and I do strive to be really good at certain things. I put a lot of coming back for another push. I do strive to be really proficient in certain tasks, but I really enjoy being a jack of all. Being able to run a little bit of welding, being able to do a bit of woodworking, bit of carpentry, bit of plastering, being able to paint, be able to do some mechanics work, be able to do your own oil changes and change the brakes on your machine. Snowstorm this weekend, guys.
And now flash forward to 1 year later.
Just have to start clearing. Quite a mess around. Have a look here. Isn't that beautiful? Just out in the workshop now that I've got all my work done, my chores done, it's time to go to work. It's time to pay the bills. After I finished that snow, I had to dig into a project right here. My garage door opener, that torsion spring setup, seemed to go to pieces over the weekend. I went outside, closed my door. When I went to get back in, I couldn't lift my door. So I've been a while here now, slowly picking it apart. Couldn't figure it out, so I ended up having to pull it all apart. And the spring the torsion spring inside was all sheared off. I pulled that out, cleaned it up, and I ran a bead of weld around one of the coils where they join, kind of like this type of relationship. How they meet, that's how they broke, so just ran a bead. So we have one less coil to torsion, but of course you drive a lot of heat, and that's something just to mention quickly to keep in mind with spring steel. Spring steel is tempered just so it's really hard and it stays in that formation, but it also has a lot of flexibility. It's kind of a very delicate line to walk there. If you imagine like a leaf spring, it needs to be bouncy enough to allow the springing action, which is what you want the spring for, but yet you don't want it to bend back out of shape, so it needs to stay in that shape. So with that spring there, when I weld it, of course you blast a lot of heat into that joint and it can be brittle, so then I tried to do a little bit of light tempering to put that flexibility back in it. I think it'll hold up. It seems to run well there now. let me show you what we have over here on the workbench. And just a little reminder, I intend on taking out that whole front wall there and building it in as just a man door and a picture window. A couple reasons for that. It'll give me more room for my workshop. It'll also give me a lot more R value. It's been difficult to heat the shop this winter. It is warm. I have my diesel blower and I constantly have a low force feed of hot air coming from the house furnace. But it's not a lot because I'm losing so much cold out through that door. That's just the reality of these types of doors. You don't get a lot of R value even with a good quality material. And then the seal is a weak point around the side. So hoping to put in a man door and a picture window. That's my intentions. A picture window will allow the sun, because that's where the sun stays, out on the front of the house, projecting this way. That'll give me a lot of heat, just that window in my workshop. I know upstairs in the house, the big picture window's in the front. The furnace doesn't cut in all day long, even in the winter, minus 15, minus 20 out. Furnace barely cuts in because it gets so much strength from that sun through the front window. So that'll help here. And of course, having not that big door, the heat will be able to stay in. I'll have a little extra natural light coming in this way. I'll have more workshop space, like I said, because right now, anytime you have big doors like that, you can't use that full wall. That's 14 feet of wall space that I can't use because a door has to be there. Enough about that. That's a project for the spring. I wanted to show you guys the knives I have in production here, and one that I just finished up for a beloved customer of mine.
Yeah.
What?
Imagine it's a beautiful day.
Imagine that's a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day.
Yeah.
We have a bake apple here. I know you guys love the bake apples. This is beautiful little sheath, red brass. As you can see, the white-tailed deer. It's done so that when this is hanging in the neck sheath configuration that it is, you get to pick out that deer. So it's always oriented properly. Red scales, white liners, and have a look. This was a last-minute addition, choice by the customer. Some tang filing. Do you see that? That is pretty. Right here we have the most recent knives that have gone to heat treat. These will be ready in just a week or so. We have some yellow foxes, and these will be available for sale on the website. 3 warriors. This is a new pattern I developed over Christmas. Very nice. This is a monstrous pattern. It's a big knife for starters, but it is built very, very heavy. 1 bake apple in here. This is just this slot here now. This is not necessarily all I have on the go. And this is a brand new custom pattern. Something I'm playing with. This is a prototype. What do you think? Look at that black forge finish there now. Man, you're vicious.
Mom.
You saying what dance
Have
is?
some more. Mom.
How about this? The warrior pattern. Terrible piece of paper, but how about some light plastic? What about this? Some hard dry birch. go immediately back to some paper. Of course, right on the flat of that edge. Let's do this in one take to prove the value. As you can see, perfect edge. Standard 2-inch, I believe, framing nail. Very minimal damage, little bit of dulling, no chips or rolls, none, just a little bit of dulling, little bit, let's see, little bit of flattening, very apex. How about this massive 4-inch framing nail? Go in a different location. Look at that clean cut. Now look at a little damage. There's where I snipped that one. Just a slight little bit of dulling. No chipping, no rolling. Just the slightest bit of dulling. Let's go back to my finest finishing ability. See how long it takes to get back. So the amount of work I just did would have been about 2 minutes on the stones. Really, that's it. To cut multiple framing nails, to hack away at some brutally hard dry birch. And we're back to shaving hair with 2 minutes on the stones. So I hope you can see the value and appreciate what you're receiving from me. I so appreciate you guys' support. All the knives that have been purchased from me over the years, they really support my family and help us live the lifestyle that we want to live. And I hope you feel like you're receiving tremendous value as well. My goal is to build tools, that's a key word, tools that will support you in your lifestyle and last for generations, to pass down for me to use and to grow older with and pass down to a son or a nephew or a daughter and have it move down the line. I do not want to build disposable products. You know, I've kind of spoken about that for a long time. I have a whole collection of vintage hand tools, 100, 120, 30-year-old tools. I shave nearly every day, of course not my beard, but trim with 100, 120-year-old straight razors, because I do not like disposability, and these knives, I believe, will stand that test of time. So now enough yammering, it's time to get some scales on these beauties.